Yes, so good evening, everybody. You are welcome to the Edu-P Hangout webinar. And I am so honored to have with us here tonight our guest presenter, and her name is Emike Osumah. And she's ready to have this wonderful conversation with us tonight. Okay, so as many of you who are aspiring authors and book writers, you are in the best place tonight to hear from Emike Osumah. Okay, so if you want to know how to become an author and how to increase your earnings through writing, this Edu-P Hangout webinar is just for you. All right, so very quickly, our guest presenter is already here. And before I hand over to her, I would like to read out her bio. Emike Osumah is head of content at Purple Ink Shared Incorporated, a creative content and book publishing service provider. Over the years, her writing, which has begun as a hobby and paved the way for her first job as a script writer for TV, radio game shows, has morphed into a blooming writing career. She is the author of Ripples, Love, Winding Path, Moms and Swords, Diary of a Shepherd's Helpmeet, Becoming Mom, A Ray of Hope, Stolen Waters, and Still Counting. With her ghostwriting series, she has helped tell the story of clients actualizing their dream of becoming authors. She is the convener of Naomi's Well, a preparatory hub for brides and grooms to be, and has given hand-holding to several couples in 4 editions of the preparatory hub. Emike Osumah is a wife and mom. She lives in Lagos, Nigeria with her family. Okay, and another thing about her is that she likes writing Christian fiction, and she has written several Christian fictions and also received several awards in this regard. Please join us tonight as we welcome Emike Osumah, who is also a wife and a mom. Thank you very much. You're all welcome. And I hand over now to Mrs. Osumah. The floor is yours, ma'am. We would like to also hear from you. Briefly introduce yourself again to us. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Am I audible, please?
Yes, ma'am, you are very audible.
Yes, okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me, Mrs. April. Thank you so very much. I'm honored to be here tonight. And I trust that we'll be able to have a great time rubbing minds. And I know it's a very short time, but I'm going to do my best to give the information we need. I want us to come away from this session with something definite. So I'm going to do my best to touch on a few areas that time will permit us to delve into. So my name is Emike Osumah. Like she has said, she has read my bio, she said everything about me, and that's all it is. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am, you're welcome. And it's an honor to have you here tonight. So very quickly, the very first question I would like to ask you, and I know many people want to hear tonight, is what steps could one take to become an author or a publisher? What are those steps one needs to take?
Okay, so becoming a published author, many times it looks like a very obscure or blurry process. It looks very, very mysterious to a lot of people, but this evening I'm just going to simply demystify the process. It's not as difficult as you think. So to become a published author, the first thing you need to do is to establish that you have a message or a story to tell, right? Now, I want to take your mind back to any book that has impacted you in recent times, in the past. What happened to you when you read that book? Why is it a book that you never forgot? It was because there was a definite message. The author had a message. The author was not just writing for the sake of writing, right? So the first thing you should have at the back of your mind is that you must have a message. don't want to write because you want to make money. No, don't go out wanting to write because you want to become popular. The first thing before you become, or the first step to becoming a published author is to be sure that you have a message. Once you have identified that message, you're already well on your way to becoming a published author. It could be a story for fiction writers, right? It could be a non-fiction book, like you have something to talk about in parenting, in finances, different issues of life. Once you are sure that, yes, I have a definite message, you are well on your way to becoming a published author. The next thing you need to have at the back of your mind is to find out the cost. Because many people get on the way to becoming published, but they become discouraged and they just fall by the wayside when they realize that, oh, the cost does not sit well with their budget, or they don't even have a budget. So one of the things I tell authors or aspiring authors who walk up to me, who reach out to me to say, oh, I'd like to publish a book, I'll usually ask them, have you counted the cost? Are you willing to back this project with money? Or is it just a fanciful, nice idea in your head? It has to be more than a fanciful, nice idea in your head. So you need to count the cost. Look around you. Find out. Go online. Ask the right professionals. What would it cost to publish a book? What are the different steps involved? Once you have identified the cost, be ready to commit your money to it. Because any project you do not commit your money to, chances are you are going to leave it abandoned. You may not finish. But the moment you put money behind it, you're going to stand with that project. It's going to fuel your commitment. So that's the next thing you need to do. Find out the cost. Have an idea, even if it's an estimate. But one important thing is that whether it's a lot of money, whether it's a little sum of money, just make up your mind that I am ready and I'm willing to back up my desire to write a book with my finances. The next thing you need to do is to find out and also establish that you have a gift for writing. Okay? Anyone can desire to be a medical doctor. But there are criteria. There are things you need to go through. There are requirements for you to even get into medical school, right? I cannot be a fine arts student, an art student, and desire to study medicine. That's not possible. So you need to find out, oh, do I have the skill, right? Do I write well? There are people who just naturally write well. It's a gift. So you need to also establish that. Do I have the gift of writing? Am I gifted in this regard? Once you are gifted to write, you are already also well on your way to writing. Now, don't get discouraged. Someone may be watching and say, no, me, I don't know how to write, or I don't have any special skills in writing. If you have a strong message, you have a valid message, you have a valid story to tell, you do not necessarily have to write your book by yourself. You can employ the services of a ghostwriter. I'm sure you must have heard that term before. Ghostwriters are people that they write very well. So they write for you, you pay them, or you take the credit as the author. Your name is on the book as the author. Okay? So don't be discouraged that, oh, I have a good message to pass across. I don't know how to write. Get a ghostwriter. And then the next thing you need to look at is get professional writing skills. Get professional writing skills. That's the last point there. As long as you've been told, oh, you write so well, oh, your Instagram posts are always very inspiring, do not settle there. Move on from there and ensure that you get professional, sharpen your skills, get professional training. You can begin with free courses. We have a lot of free courses on Coursera, online, on Allison. In all that you do, please do not stay with the compliments people are paying you. Don't say, oh, because they told me I can write, I'm okay. No, get professional qualification. Start from the free courses and grow from there. So that's about it for question. Yeah. Because of time, I'm just trying to hurry. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that ideas and tips that you just shared with us. So now, if somebody has a dream of becoming a writer, so many people say, oh, I would love to write a book. I would love to write a book. And 1 year, the first year goes, they've not written the book. Second year goes, they've not written the book. 5 years gone, they've not written the book. But they've always had this passion to become a writer, to become an author. What will such a person need to do? What are the steps that such a person has to take in actualizing that dream of becoming a writer? and not just saying it, but actually becoming. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So yeah, I totally understand that place where you want to write a book. Like this is April. A lot of people got to January very pumped, excited, like, oh, I'm going to write a book. This is my year where I become an author, and then they don't do it. Now, here are a few reasons why you cannot become an author and what you can do to change that story. We are already stepping into May. You can still begin your journey to being an author by doing these following things. Number one, create a book outline. Create an outline for your book. Don't just leave it to your head and say, I want to write a book. As long as you do that, you have not demystified it. It will look like a big mountain in your mind, right? So first thing you must do, create an outline. If you're going to write, for example, how to know how to transition purposefully from singleness to being married, for example, you need to write, sit somewhere, write chapter 1. What am I going to talk about? Write it down. Chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. Just create a sketch, okay, for all the chapters. By the time you have done that, you discover that your work is already very much simplified before you. It's no longer as big as it is. So you must have an outline. Don't just jump in, because if you jump in like that, sit on your laptop and start typing without a plan, you're going to get stuck. But a plan will keep you going. So please, as we are getting into May, as you are chanting your new resolution that, oh, in this new month, I'm going to begin my journey to writing my book, start with creating an outline, right? That's the first thing you need to do. Then secondly, write down your definite goal. What do you want to achieve? When somebody reads your book, what do you want them to come away with? What do you want to happen to them? What is that thing? You know, every book you read, it leaves you with this, with a message you cannot forget. It leaves you with its imprint. That's the word I'm looking for. It's like the author leaves his or her imprint on your soul, on your spirit. So decide, what do I want to teach someone from this book? Then write it down. When you write it down, it will keep guiding you. So that when you are writing, you're going to be discouraged to stop. When you go back to that written goal, it will draw you back on track. And remember, this is why I'm writing this book. So number one, create an outline for your book. Have a definite goal. Number three, have an accountability partner. Find somebody who can disturb you in love. Someone who will not let you be if you do not take all the necessary steps and all through the stages of your book writing process. Find that person who can check up on you, who will demand to see your script, and you know you cannot say no. Please don't give it to your younger siblings. You know you can bully them. No. Find somebody you really respect and who is interested in your progress. Let that person be your accountability partner. Because if you're not accountable to anybody, you will not make any meaningful progress. So get your outline, identify your message, get an accountability partner. And lastly, if you are telling a story or a message that has to do with a traumatic experience you went through, maybe you went through a bad marriage but you came out, please, by all means, before you begin, heal before you deal. Heal before you get into writing. Because if you have not healed and you start writing that book, you're going to reopen wounds that are not healed. It may break you down afresh. It may cause fresh trauma that will make you abandon your manuscript, and it may scare you away from ever writing. So ensure that you have healed before you get on that writing journey. Once you have these things in place, you're just going to be touring. Yes, you're going to have times where you may, slow down, but as long as you have this in place, you are going to be on track, regardless of your distractions. So those are the few points I have to share for what you need to do to practically get on with writing your book and actually writing your book.
Yes, hello, awesome. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Those are so helpful, so helpful. And I'm just thinking about someone who might be an aspiring writer or an author, maybe an upcoming author, and is thinking, what if I start writing and nobody accepts my book or nobody reads my book? What if I publish my book and I don't get people to buy my book? So how do we build a readership or a fan base? How do we get people to love our writing, to aspire to or crave to read our books? What will you say, please?
Okay, so one of the things you need to do to begin to build a community and a tribe around the works that you're doing, around your works as an author, is to first and foremost build an organic relationship with the people in your physical spaces and in your virtual spaces. Have a relationship with them. Okay, you're going to start from somewhere. Do not be afraid of starting small with what you already have on social media. Don't let your first goal to be, oh, that book you want to sell. I began with freebies, a lot of freebies, free stories. In fact, at the time, I was not even thinking about publishing. I just enjoyed to write. So I had something I would do at some point called Story Saturdays. So every Saturday, I put out an episode of a story. And I was amazed at the response. People would literally be on my neck. Friday night, they are telling me we are looking forward to Saturday. What's going to happen in episode 2? So it's found that more people were getting following my blog because I was putting out a free story. Do you understand? So be willing to put yourself out there for free, first and foremost. Don't worry, the money will eventually come. So be willing to put out yourself and the gift you have for free. Because when you do that, you're going to attract people to yourself organically. By the time they come, and the day you now stand up to say, oh, I want to publish a book, they will buy it. Because they've read your free stories, they enjoyed it. And when you are giving out stuff for free, give them value. Don't throw shabby things out there. Let it be good enough to make money for you. The story I actually put out there for Story Saturdays, I did not know how it was going to end. I know I just started and we just kept going. And every day I'll get inspiration every new week. And eventually I wrote a whole novel in 3 months because of Story Saturday. When I eventually put the book together and sold it on Okada Books, that book became my first bestseller.
Wow.
Even those that read it in episode, they went back to buy it. They wanted to own it.
Wow.
So get in touch with your community organically. Put yourself out there for free. Don't worry. Don't worry that they're not buying. They are not going to pay for what you are offering. Be in their lives. Be in their faces. Let them feel you. Let them know you, right? By the time you want to sell any product, they are going to be your biggest support system. And they'll begin to refer you to other people. Then another thing you need to do, you must be authentic. Be very, very authentic. Let your who you are match your brand. Don't be double-faced. People can sniff it from afar and just avoid you. Okay? Another thing you can do is to have a mailing list. You can eventually create a mailing list. For example, those people that signed up for Story Saturdays, they had to sign into my mailing list to get access to that Story Saturday. So you now have their contact in your palms. So what you do next with that contact is what now matters. Please don't be in their faces. By the time they are now signing in, you are now always selling to them. Please avoid it. Resist that temptation. On Monday, you send a mail. I'm selling this. On Tuesday, I'm selling this. Next week, I'm selling. They will either block or they will just unsubscribe, right? They will just unsubscribe without even looking at your face. So do not what's the word now? Don't pressurize them with salesy emails. Just present your value to them from a standpoint of someone that really cares about those people. So the day you want to sell to them, they are going to be buying without looking back. Then in your sending out emails, be consistent. If you're mailing once a week, let it be once a week. If it's bi-weekly, let it be bi-weekly. Let them become a part of that reading, that unconsciously they know that, oh, I'm looking forward to something from you every 2 weeks or every week. So when you do these things from where you are, starting small, no matter how small, you're going to eventually build a tribe around your works.
Awesome. Thank you so much for these tips that are not easy to come by. Thank you so much. Okay, so moving ahead, I found these keywords in my research about writing and publishing. So the words are self-publishing, and traditional publishing. Okay, so I have this question. What are the benefits of self-publishing versus traditional publishing? So if you could please expatiate more on those two terminologies, self-publishing, traditional um, publishing, and just give us the contrast between them. Thank you, ma'am.
So for traditional publishing, it's the kind of publishing that is taken on by an established publishing firm. You normally have agents in between. You have to send your book to the agent and then they publish for you. For traditional publishing, you do not pay anything upfront. The cost is not on you, right? So that is the first advantage of traditional publishing. The cost is not on you. These people, these publishing agents, they have seen your manuscripts. They love your story. They love your message. They believe in what you carry. And they are like, okay, this can make us some money. So they want to help you to put that book out there because it's going to really sell. They position it rightly and they are going to earn from it. So number one advantage is that you do not need to put in your money for traditional publishing. The other advantage of traditional publishing is that you gain more visibility than self-publishing because these are established publishing bodies, right? You naturally will gain more visibility, quick visibility. With self-publishing, you will gain visibility, but it may not be as quick as when you are traditionally published, okay? Another thing is that advantage of traditional publishing is that they put their weight behind your book and they give you authorization. So you may just be a 21-year-old who is writing your first book, but because it got into the hands of an agent who believed in your work and they decided to publish it traditionally, you may just begin to write faster than those people who have been writing since. And they are now in their 40s, but they've been writing since they were in their 20s. So it gives you credibility because they will put their weight behind you, right? So that's one advantage. Another advantage of publishing traditionally is that you get proven professional, professionals to work on your manuscript. So you're going to take your book through, you're going to have as many as, you have a proofreader, you have a copy editor, you have a fact checker, you have a publicist, all of these professionals working on your book. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't get it with self-publishing, but a lot of self-published authors, they run from paying for these services because of the cost, because they do not have sponsors, right? So that's one of the things. That's why they don't get all of that. But if you are traditionally published, these professionals are going to look at your book, give it a lot of close attention. They will pay attention to every detail. So you will not have a book out there that's going to embarrass you in the future. So those are the advantages. So one of the advantages of self-publishing is control. It gives you control. You are the one to decide what your book cover looks like. If you like it, it's your business. Nobody's going to tell you, oh, it's not okay. No, they won't take you back and forth. You're trying to make a decision. Another thing is the speed. When you are self-published, you can really publish very fast. But for traditional publishing, it's going to take a lot of process, several months, going back and forth. And their meetings they can be random. They'll tell you, oh, we've not met concerning your book for the past 4 weeks. So whenever they meet is when they take the decision to go to the next stage. But for a self-published author, you don't have to go through all of that. You start and you follow your schedule and you finish. Then another thing about self-publishing as an advantage is your royalties. You own your royalties. But for traditional publishers, they will share your royalties. They are going to take a part of your money because they put in their money to get you published. So, but if you are a self-published author, you are ready to put in the work, you are eventually going to make money because all the money you are selling, all the books you sell by yourself is yours. So those are some of the advantages and disadvantages. And one other disadvantage of being traditionally published is that they can remove your book from bookstores unceremoniously because a new baby is on the block. They found a new author, the next shiny new book. They can just kick yours out of the bookstore and put that one there. But for a self-published author, your book can remain in that bookstore for as long as you want it to be, because you call the shots. But it's not so for traditional publishing. So when you want to go into publishing, look at the two of them. None of them is inferior to the other, right? But it's always a statement of growth when you are able to move from self-publishing to becoming traditionally published eventually. There are successful self-publishers all over the place, some very successful. Okay, so it doesn't mean that if you're self-published, you're less. No. So those are the basic differences.
Oh, I see. Thank you so much. So one could aspire to move from being a self-publisher to being a traditional, to have traditional publishers sponsoring your book. Okay. Yes. So very interesting, very interesting. So either which way, there's an advantage on both ends, and there are also some disadvantages. Thank you so much. So we just have 10 more minutes before the session ends. So I would like to take just one final question before we end this very enlightening seminar today. And the question says, what are some ways to diversify income streams as an author? Okay, such as courses and speaking engagements. So as a writer, as an author, how can I diversify my income? How can I get the exposure that I desire? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, for authors, we actually have what I would call, it's not even a two-edged sword, it's a multiple-edged sword, right? So we have advantages. We have so many ways of earning beyond just earning money from your published book. Initially, you may not know that. You may just be stuck with writing your books, trying to sell your books. But as you get exposure, as you sell, as your confidence grows, there are several things you can do to begin to earn money at the side. One of them is ghostwriting. Ghostwriting is one fantastic way of earning money as an author. Now, there are people who want to tell a story. I had mentioned it at the beginning of this session. They want to tell a story, they want to write a book, but they do not exactly have that natural skill of communicating effectively in writing. These people are ready to pay money to a good writer who can help them tell their story, who can help them write their message. So that is one way to make money. So you don't have to sit with your book and say, until I sell my book, I cannot earn. While your books are selling, you can be making a lot of money from being a ghostwriter. So when I say ghostwriting, I'm looking at it in terms of writing books, e-copies or paperback, right? Then another way you can also write to earn money is by creating content for other people's platforms. You can have someone who is into food industry. The person may be a YouTuber. They have fantastic equipment, fantastic sets. They have the ideas. They know how to cook, but they do not know how to put the scripts together. They don't know how to put the scripts together on, how do I say this? What do I do? How do I caption my videos? You can actually create their captions, create their content, their written content, and make money from that. So that's another way you can make easy money. A lot of people are on social media. They have platforms, they have businesses, but they need somebody who can help them articulate the message in their heart on those platforms. You can do that and make money. You can write for websites. You can write for organizations that are willing to pay you money. Sometimes, I always like to add this, be ready to also write for free. It was a free work that landed me my first ghostwriting job. Right? That was in multiple zeros. It was my free work. I wrote a free book and somebody saw it. It was my story Saturdays I told you about. She read one episode and said, I found the person to write my book. This is my ghostwriter. And she fired her own ghostwriter she was already speaking with. Because somehow, after reading my story, she could just relate with my heart. And we had a fantastic time working together. Her book is selling. Our relationship is still going on beautifully. In fact, we didn't get to meet in person until 2 years after her book was published. She didn't know me in person. We just knew ourselves virtually. right?
Wow.
So that's
Yeah.
one of it you should be ready to do to increase your earnings. Be ready to write for
Mm,
free. But do it
mm,
excellently. It will open
mm.
other doors for you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Awesome, excellent, excellent. You know, most time we hear things like there is nothing free, even in Freetown, nothing goes for nothing. People come up with different talks and different things like that. But we just learned from you that it's good to write for free, especially when you are a young author just coming into the field of writing. It always pays at the end. And I think that's a very wise idea that you just shared with us tonight. So, as many of us who are aiming to become writers, we have just listened to our guest presenter, Emike Osumah, and she has done justice to this topic. And I'm so appreciative of her presence with us tonight, of accepting to be with us. Many of these things that she has shared with us for free tonight, you won't get them free in some seminars. So I'm so very grateful to her. This time she has shared with us. And I see that some of us have questions, but unfortunately, time will not permit us to really take questions. And I wouldn't want us to stop halfway. So Mrs. Emike Osumah is in the Edu-P Hangout WhatsApp group. And I'm very sure that if you send your questions there, she will be willing to attend to them. Yes, so if not now, she will go over it later and attend to all questions. Now, in case you are not on the Edu-P Hangout platform or you don't know what it means, Edu-P simply means Educators and Parents Hangout. So it's a group where we have educators and parents coming together, to unite and to share ideas and to foster cooperation and discussions around raising our children and proper upbringing of children in the family and in schools. So if you would like to join this WhatsApp platform, we also have on Facebook and Instagram. Kindly reach out to me because I've put my phone number there and you'll be added to the platform. Once again, I'm so grateful to Mrs. Osumah for this time that she has shared with us. And we hope to become fantastic writers like she is. She has written numerous books and published so many books. She has also received several awards and recognition for her writing skills. Thank you very much, ma'am. It's been a wonderful pleasure having you at the Edu-P Hangout webinar for the month of April. Thank you and good night. Thank you, everybody. I'm so grateful. I'm happy to see you all. Thank you for joining. And it's bye from Blessing in Nigeria. Thank you. I see you all, Oluchi, Irene, Abel. I see you all, Martha, Ibrahim. Thank you. Yes, God bless you. Thank you for your comment. Yeah, so that was the email, purpleeggshell@gmail.com. Please, you can reach out for more ideas. If you have some work to do, you can work with her. That's our email address, purpleeggshell@gmail.com. And I can assure you that you will get the very best, from her. Thank you. And it's good night from me here. For those who are just joining, sorry, the recording is going to be released soon on the Edu-P Hangout platform and some other platforms. So you can reach out to me and I'll share the recording with you if you joined us late. Thank you and bye, everybody. Good night and see you in our next. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. See you in our next webinar. Bye.